As you can see, this is a Peavey item. It's the RQ1606M. It's a reference quality console, primarily designed as a monitor mixer, although because of the couple of tweaks on the design, it does have a left-right out, so it can be used as a main front of house mixer with monitor outs. The only downside is this doesn't have group buses. So we'll look across. Obviously we've got 16 channels. We've got a shelving high, semi-parametric mid and a shelving low for the EQ. Obviously our gain trim. We have 6 AUXs for the monitors. AUXs 5 and 6, although this is actually designed as a monitor desk, because it can be used as a front of house, 5 and 6 are actually switchable to go pre or post fader. Obviously, because I'm going to be using this as a monitor desk, it will all be pre-fader. For more information on what AUXs are and stuff, if you see my other video that I did as the rundown overview of my Hill Audio Gig Mix desk, which is also, I'll link in the description below. Obviously we've got 16 channels. Each channel has a PFL, so we can gauge the input trim, and we have a mute button as well, so we can trim all those. The monitors, we have AFL buttons and mute buttons for all the monitors, and obviously nice large faders for the outputs. We also have a low cut, variable adjustable low cut filter. So if you're using it for vocal monitors on a particular channel, and vocal monitors only, you can actually cut out those lower end rumble frequencies, such as handling a mic or rumble coming through the floor from the kick bass or whatever. So you can filter those out. We also have on here, we have a talk back, so we can talk back to the artists on stage, but we also have a switch where we can not only send it to the monitors, but if we're using this as a front of house, we can also send it to the front out left and rights, and then it's just a press to activate button for the talk back. We have a headphone out, and we also have a wedge level. So most monitor mixers will have what's called a Q wedge, where the monitor engineer can listen to any particular mix through a wedge that they have at the side of them, so they can judge how a mix in a monitor is being listened to. Obviously we have an AFL on the left and right as well. We also have on the front a universal phantom power. This is a feature that's common on smaller consoles and smaller desks, normally about 16 channels or smaller, rather than as my big desk where each channel has its own individual phantom power switch. You have a universal, so the phantom power is either on all channels or off all channels. So that's that's the top of the desk. We'll now flip the desk around and have a look at the back. Okay, so on the back, obviously you can see we've got a lot of inputs and outputs. First thing you notice, there are 2 XLRs for all 16 channels. One is your input from the source, be it a microphone or a DI box or a keyboard or whatever. The other one is a pass-through to feed from this into your snake box to go down your multi-core to your front of house mixer, so that anything you do on here doesn't affect the signal that goes to your front of house mixer. It is just a pass-through signal. So it comes into the desk, gets processed here to come out the monitors, but also gets fed back out unprocessed through the other XLR into your snake to go to the front of house. We also have on all of the buttons, on all of the channels, we have a pad button which will cut 20 dB of incoming signal. I went into this in a bit more detail in the other video from the other desk, so again, link in the description below for that. So obviously we've got the 16 channels here, 16 ins, 16 pass-through outs and 16 pad buttons. Come across to this side, we've got all the monitor signals, so we've got all the balanced outs to go from the desk into the EQs in the rack for the monitors, so we can EQ. Obviously this is post EQ from here. You can do some EQ on the desk, but you can also tweak the EQ for each monitor signal on the 31 band that's in the FX rack. So we have an XLR out, we have a balanced jack line out, which will use a TRS plug, 6.5mm or 1/4 inch, depending on where you live. We also have a line in and an insert, so you can actually have another line in into your monitor channel as well as your normal signal here. I mean, you have an insert, so rather than going out of here to the EQs, if you wanted to, you could actually insert the EQ, and the output here would go straight to your amplifier for your monitor wedges. But I prefer to run from here to the EQ and then to the monitor wedge amplifiers. So that's that section here. Here we have, if it was being used as a front of house, we have our balanced outs and line outs. We also have a left and right mono out, and then a stereo out, and we also have what's that one? Oh, main mono, and that's our Q wedge jack out. So when I spoke about the Q wedge dial here, that is where our Q wedge will plug into, and it's basically a balanced jack line out. So that's all the controls along the back of the desk.